Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tasia, but you can also call me Tay, and welcome in. I'm so excited to have you here. So this is day one of starting my week of videos in order to celebrate my channel's 1-year anniversary here on YouTube. I will be posting a video every single day this week, and there will be quite a variety of different videos, so I hope you guys are excited and looking forward to that. I'm really excited to share them with you all, and I think this is just going to be such a fun week. Now, I've said this so many times throughout my videos, but I feel like the time has seriously flown by so fast. I cannot believe that it's been a whole year of me starting this channel and sharing videos and just sharing my love of Animal Crossing with you all. I've had so much fun, and I've just truly appreciate all your guys' support, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy the videos that I make. It truly makes me happy to know that there are people out there who enjoy my videos, so thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. As I mentioned, I will be posting a video every single day this week, and even more exciting, I will be streaming for the very first time at the end of this week, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you would like to follow along on my journey here on YouTube, and so you are notified anytime I post a video. So with that said, let's start talking about today's video. So I thought there would be nothing more fitting than to start off this week by taking a trip down memory lane and revisiting all of the past islands that I have created. I have been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons since April of 2020, and since then I have created 8 fully decorated islands with very different themes, and it has been so much fun. I haven't seen many of these islands in a very long time, so I'm very intrigued to revisit them, see how I decorated, and kind of just see my growth over the course of my island designing journey. So I hope you guys are excited. I definitely am, and at the end of this video I will also be ranking my islands from my least favorite to my favorite. So if you're interested to see and hear my thoughts on what island is my absolute favorite out of all the ones I've created, definitely stick around to the end of the video. However, I do think I will be visiting the islands in order from my very first island to my most recent island, just to kind of show my progress throughout my gameplay in Animal Crossing. And also, all of the dream addresses will be down in the description if you would like to visit any of these for yourselves. So without further ado, let's get dreaming! Alright everyone, so first up is my island Blossom. This was my very first ever Animal Crossing island, and it was a fairy tale and nursery rhyme theme. Here is the map of Blossom. You can also pause the video and take a screenshot of this if you would like to visit for yourself, and there's the D at the bottom and all of my villagers and resident reps for this island. I had so much fun creating this island. There are a ton of references to various nursery rhymes and fairy tales, and I just wanted to put a little disclaimer that this island I started back in 2020, and I didn't really finish it until like 2021. So it probably took me about a whole year and a half to actually complete this island. This went through so many different variations. I definitely didn't have a theme at the beginning, because themes weren't really a thing. I feel like we were all kind of just doing normcore at the very beginning. But this is kind of what the end result turned out to be. I absolutely adore this island. It was so much fun for me to create. As you can see, it's super full. Like, if there isn't a code or an item, it's filled with a flower, which is very interesting to see. And the way that I decorated, I kind of just let the flowers grow however they wanted, even if they were kind of duplicating. Which is something I totally would not be doing now. And it also doesn't really seem like I have a cohesive color scheme as well. I kind of just picked colorful flowers and anything that kind of just worked in the section that I was decorating, so that's very interesting. Also, I cannot stress enough how much I wish I had the 2.0 items when I made this island. Like, can you imagine all the things I could have done with the items that we currently have in game? I think it would have been so amazing, and I'm honestly just really tempted to recreate this island and this theme with all the new items that we currently have. I'd probably keep everything in the same spots, but just use some of the new items and just elevate it even more. But I am super proud with what I created and what I've come up with. I feel like this is probably my most, if not second most, creative island I've done. I just really went all out on this and I put so much work into it. I decorated all of the beaches, I decorated every single room in the resident reps' houses that were accessible, and yeah, it was just a labor of love, to be honest, but I had so much fun creating it. I feel like a few of my favorite areas have definitely got to be Jack and the Beanstalk and the Castle in the Sky, as well as Sleeping Beauty, and probably the Three Little Pigs. Those were so much fun, and again, can you imagine what I could have done if I was able to customize the houses, use the castle items, and even for the Sleeping Beauty section, use the decayed trees instead of the spooky arches, because the spooky arches had a ton of pumpkins, and I tried my best to hide most of them, but you can only do so much, especially in such a little space that I built it. But I think it would have been so cool if I had those items. But again, I'm really proud with what I managed to come up with. Also, I do have various resident reps throughout the island. I have Goldilocks, Cinderella, the Muffin Man, Red Riding Hood, a witch, and myself. So there were 6 resident reps, I believe, and all of their houses are also decorated. And they really tell the story of my island and really just emphasize the theme even more. So if you decide to visit, definitely recommend visiting those. I had so much fun decorating them. I also utilized the Mario pipes for this island, which I thought was really cool and fun. Ideally, in a perfect world, the Jack and the Beanstalk pipe would take you to the Castle in the Sky, and the Alice rabbit hole would take you to the Mad Tea Party. But unfortunately, they are kind of random, so I just named them all rabbit holes because you never know where you're gonna end up. But yeah, Blossom was so much fun, and I thought it'd be perfect to kind of give a little backstory on how I chose the island name. And when I first started playing, it was in April of 2020, and the trees were actually in cherry blossom season. At the time, I didn't understand that that's how Animal Crossing worked, that it was matched with in real time, or at least the date that you set your Switch to. So I thought I had special pink trees, and so I named my island based on the cherry blossom trees. So that's why this island's name is Blossom. It doesn't really signify a fairy tale theme, and again, themes weren't really a thing when I first started, so I didn't really tailor it to fairy tales, but I still adore the name. I think it's so cute, and I just love it. So that was Blossom, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I kind of am going to go a little quickly through these tours because I would love for you guys to visit and see all the details for yourself. And we have 7 other islands to get through. So yeah, that was Blossom. Let's move on to island number 2. And here we are on my second island. This island's name is Pinewood, and this was my glowing autumnal whimsical forest themed island. That's kind of how I like to describe it. Kind of a little bit of a mouthful, but I feel like it really describes the overall aesthetic for this island. And here is the map if you would like to visit yourself. Again, you can pause and take a screenshot if you'd like to save this DA, and here are all of my villagers as well. So as I mentioned, Pinewood is an autumnal forest. This DA I set pretty much at golden hour, but it does progressively get darker and darker. And I did this because I have a lot of glowing items throughout this island, and I really wanted to showcase them in the evening if possible. So it starts off very orange, very fall, a ton of the red trees, and there are just a ton of white and light colored flowers. So it's a very autumnal kind of themed island. And I also have a ton of trees. That's another commonality between this one and Blossom. So I've noticed that both those islands are pretty full. However, with this one, it seems like I have a little bit more of a cohesive theme and color scheme going on, but it is still very full. But I also did that very intentionally because, again, you are in a forest, so I really wanted it to feel like you could get lost in the forest. And I feel like I definitely managed to do that because I feel like you can get pretty lost. There isn't a very clear direction to go. I tried to emphasize where you should walk with planks and stuff, but it is just very full, especially with all the orange going on. So this is pretty much the only fall themed island I've ever done, and I would absolutely love to do another fall island, especially like a very natural and lighter color scheme for the fall island. maybe earlier fall rather than with the red trees, but I just really, really loved the falling leaves at this time of year. I'm really proud of some of the filler areas that I've done, and my most favorite lookout on this whole island has to be the picnic lookout over the forest. I was so proud of this build, and I'm still proud of this build. This was so much fun to do. It was actually pretty simple as well. I would love to incorporate that build again on a future island. I just think the area looked so pretty. Now, I also wanted to note that I was working on this island just before the 2.0 update, so I was kind of on the brink of finishing it, and then they decided to release all the amazing items. So I did manage to use a few 2.0 items, but this island is leaning more towards 1.0 rather than 2.0. So I just wanted to really finish it off and utilize all the amazing items on the next island that I was going to do. However, I did get a little burnt out with this one towards the end. I was just really itching to get done with this island and start utilizing all those new amazing items. I feel like for this theme, I really wanted it to feel very natural and kind of just like a woodland forest as well. So there are a ton of different woodland creatures hidden throughout the island. So I feel like even my villagers match animals that you would see in like a forest or something. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And also, since this was pre 2.0, I didn't redecorate any of the villager houses for this one. So they're all just in their original houses as well as their interiors. I don't even know if Happy Home Paradise had released at that time, but yeah, they're all in their original houses. But all of the little builds that I have throughout the island are very tailored towards fall and just natural greenery. I love adding some kind of whimsical element to my island, so every little build is slightly magical. So another little spot that I absolutely loved and I thought was kind of creative was how I created this little rabbit hole at the bottom of this carrot patch. So you come across the log bridge and you see this little tucked in decorated living room that's like indoor to outdoor kind of. So this build is meant to represent like a rabbit hole underground. So kind of think like Bugs Bunny, how he jumps into the hole and then he's underground in his little den living room. So that's what that was supposed to be. I feel like you probably wouldn't know that that's what that was without me explaining it, but hopefully you kind of get the vision that I was going for here. Another thing is I couldn't help but make another castle. I had so much fun on Blossom making all the whimsical castles that I just really wanted to make one here on Pinewood, and I just had a lot of fun. I feel like at the time I'm touring it's a little bit hard to see, but I feel like if you started going towards the right side of the island when you first start instead of the left, you would get a much better visual of all the details over there. I also really like that build a lot, but I just had so much fun with the terraforming on this one. I was just really experimenting and just went all out, so yeah, it's just really dynamic and fun and very orange. So yeah, as I mentioned, I would absolutely love to do another autumnal forest, probably on the lighter color scheme side, because it's just been a very long time since I've done a natural fall forest. I've had a few items that were set in fall, but the theme wasn't centered around fall. So yeah, I would love to do this again, but I am pretty proud of how this one turned out. It was just really fun. My first attempt at something autumnal, and it was just a labor of love and a ton of trees. If there were any other way to describe this island, I would just say trees. But yeah, that was Pinewood. Again, the DA will be down in the description as well if you would like to visit this one. But let's move on to island number 3. Here we are on island number 3, and this is Rosealia. This island's theme is a multi-theme gyroid island. This island was so much fun, and I feel like this is kind of the island that really grew my following on Instagram and really just made me feel very confident as an island designer. But yeah, this was so much fun to create, and I feel like a lot of people really enjoyed seeing this, and I kind of wanted to explain how I ended up coming up with this theme. But firstly, here is the map and the DA at the bottom if you would like to visit as well. But I wanted to also explain how I came up with this theme because it is a very niche theme, and it definitely is not something that just came to me. It was kind of just me messing around with a few items, because this was my first island where I fully utilized the 2.0 items, and I wanted to do an island where I could use as many as possible. But also, when I started this island, I was just kind of trying out different aesthetics and themes, and then I started to collect the gyroids because those were also new, and I thought they were super cute. I really wanted to use them, but I also kind of started to notice just how many that there were and how different that they were, and what truly inspired this island theme was the gyroids themselves. I wanted to create different zones that matched the different gyroids, so that's what inspired this theme. That's what inspired the mini themes that are throughout this island, is just like different environments that these different gyroids live in. So the gyroids that I chose kind of match the zones that they're in, or at least I hope they do. I feel like if I had to choose a few favorites on the island, I would probably say Crystal Caverns, Seashell Shore, and Dino Alley are my favorites. I think they're just very different, and I think you could really make an entire theme based off of those areas. Maybe Crystal Caverns might be a little difficult, but I was just really proud and happy to use the frozen items to look like crystals. I thought that was really fun. Also, I have no idea what the exact amount of gyroids are on this island. There are a ton on the outside and on the insides. I did end up decorating almost all of the villager houses, and even in their houses, there are more gyroids. So I don't know, I'm gonna make this a challenge for you guys. If you visit my island, Rosealia, and you count every single gyroid, I will go throughout my island and count them as well and see if you're correct, and let me know how many you end up counting down in the comments, because I would be very, very intrigued to know. But you may have to take a few visits in case some of my villagers aren't home. But yeah, I'd love to see what number you guys come up with, because I know where every gyroid is, I just don't know how many there are. Now, I also went inside my house for this one because I thought this house was so much fun. It's pretty much a gyroid workshop. It kind of reminds me of a Color Me Mine, if you're familiar with that. It's a pottery chain in the US, but you pretty much receive a fired piece of pottery and you pretty much just get to paint them. So that's kind of what the gyroid workshop is. You get to make your own gyroid inside my house and paint them and decorate them however you like. And the upstairs is kind of like the storage room. There are extra gyroids and supplies up there, and also just a random bed because I had to create the dream address somehow, so I had to utilize a bed somewhere in the house. So yeah, that's pretty much Rosaelia. There's a ton of different themes throughout this island, and each one is very unique and very special. I had a really fun time creating each one, but it was also a really fun challenge too. Like, trying to make all these various themes blend together and make sense was definitely a struggle, but I feel like in the end I'm super proud of how it came out, and it's just a really fun time here. Again, let me know if you visit and you happen to count every single gyroid. I will let you know in the comments if you are correct or wrong, because that would be really interesting to see. But with all that said, that was Rosaelia. Now let's move on to my fourth island. Welcome to Andalasia. This island was themed after the Disney movie Enchanted. Here is the map on the screen and all of my villagers and my resident reps and the DA down at the bottom. Of course, I had to have Giselle and Robert here as well because they are the main characters in the movie. Now, if you have seen Enchanted, I think you are going to really appreciate this island. I have a ton of references from the movie, and I know I've said this about all the other islands so far, but this one I feel like I had the most fun doing because it was really cool to take what I saw in the movie and try to make a version of it in Animal Crossing. If you've seen the movie, you know that it takes place in an enchanted forest as well as New York. So this island is half enchanted forest and half New York. I really tried to stick with the same color schemes that I saw in the movie, especially for the Enchanted Forest section, but we don't spend that much time there in the movie, so I kind of just had to take what I saw and try to do my best with it. But I really tried to add in as many references as possible, most notably Giselle's house and the castle. The castle that I created here on this island is probably my most favorite build I've ever done on any of my islands. I'm super proud of how it turned out, and it's just the really big statement build on the whole island, I think. The castle in the movie has this big, wide incline leading up to the front doors of the palace, and that is why I decided to add 2 inclines that lead up to the inside of the castle here on my island. Now in the movie, the castle has this very long bridge that spans across some water inside the castle, so that is exactly what I tried to do, and everything else is kind of just my own little interpretation. We don't really see the inside of the castle or much of it in the movie, so I tried my best, and it's also Animal Crossing. There are some mechanics in the game that just make it hard to do specific things, so I just tried to do whatever I thought was really elegant and pretty. So the back of the castle is very symmetrical, and I love the 2 arching bridges as well. Also, the only way to get to the New York part of the island is through the pipe that I have sunken in this mini waterfall section. In the movie, Giselle is pushed into this well, and she falls into this well and ends up being transported into New York City. So I thought this was the perfect transition to do, using the Mario pipes to get you from the forest all the way to New York. And I'm just super proud of how this came out. This is my first ever attempt at anything city core related, and I feel like I did a fairly good job. I really watched a lot of Nora's videos, aka Horrible Gaming, here on YouTube to really get an idea of how to attempt city core since I've never really done it before. So after kind of viewing a few of her layouts and how to lay down paths, I think I really got the hang of it, and I'm just super proud of how the New York section came out. I've never been to New York myself, so I really had to rely on what I saw in the movie and just pictures of New York in general. So let me know, you guys, if you are from New York or if you visited, let me know how I did. Is it fairly accurate or is it kind of just way off? I'd love to know. Now, a very iconic scene in the movie is when Giselle is kind of lost in New York and she's not really sure where she is or how to get back home. She ends up finding this billboard with a giant castle on the front. Now, I knew I had to create this scene on my island, so I ended up making the billboard sign myself because I knew I wasn't really going to find that. It is a very specific design, so I ended up making myself, and I put a little dress up there to represent Giselle, and this is the scene where she meets Robert and Morgan, so I knew it was very important to incorporate this somewhere. I also added a few other references, which if you've seen the movie, you will recognize what this area is. This is the bicycle scene. This is when Prince Edward jumps off a bridge and ends up being run over by a ton of bicycles. And there is also a dropped apple there, which if you've seen the movie, you'll know why that's there. But if you haven't, you'll definitely have to go watch and then come back and watch this video or visit the island, and you'll be able to recognize a ton of the references that I've created. Next up, we are going to enter into Central Park, and Central Park is where another very iconic scene takes place. This is the That's How I Know dance number in the movie, and I just had a lot of fun making this one. I was super happy to find a ton of great outfits in game that really matched the costumes that the dancers and other extras wear in the movie. So I think this turned out really great. Of course, I have Giselle front and center, and towards the end of that dance number, they are all grouped together in front of a giant fountain in Central Park. So I wanted to include my own fountain back there. And of course, I have this whole area filled with trees and water and bridges and a few benches because we are in Central Park after all. Now, Giselle and Robert and Morgan visit a pizzeria in the movie, so I really wanted to include that. And if you come up the incline next to the pizzeria, it leads you to some balcony seating where you can sit and look out over the view of the city landscape. I kind of just used a bunch of servers and simple panels as well as the food and snack vending machines to really give that lighting effect and add different dimensions to this build. And of course, I had to add the Statue of Liberty back there in the corner. Heading back into Central Park, I created this little diagonal transition and starting to end off the New York section of the island. This is another cityscape build, but this one's a little more realistic, and I'm so proud of this one. I think this is probably the most realistic build I've ever done. Whether or not it looks like New York, I think just the whole city aspect of it and how it turned out is just really great. I love this build. I also have one final resident rep house here in the New York section, and at the top of this house is a Godzilla type statue, which if you've seen the movie, I think you'll really appreciate this, and it's kind of funny that I have it up here, but I think it's just perfect. Again, make sure to watch the movie. It is super cute, and you'll be able to recognize all these references throughout the island. Lastly, I really wanted to include the ball scene from the movie because it is one of my favorite scenes, and I'm just super proud of this one. So this is one of the interiors that I had done. I tried to make it as accurate as possible. We have the band at the back of the ballroom and all the dancers in their elegant gowns and all the curtains and the lighting and chandeliers. That whole scene is just so beautiful, and since the lighting in that scene is so distinct, I really wanted to add some of the shining effects on a few of the items and make the lighting in this room kind of purpley pink. So yeah, there's just a ton of different elements that I thought really fit what's in the ballroom in the movie. So that was Andalasia, you guys. If you've seen Enchanted, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had so much fun working on this theme. I think I really want to do another theme that's based on a movie, so I hope to do that sometime in the future. I was really able to challenge myself and try to recreate everything that was in the movie, and it was just a really good time. So I honestly recommend, if you haven't done so already, try making one of your favorite movies in Animal Crossing or one of your favorite books. It's so rewarding towards the end of it to see the end product, and it just really adds a whole nother layer of Animal Crossing when you're trying to recreate something you've seen before. So definitely give it a try if you haven't. But let's move on to the next island. Here we are on my 5th island, Kakamora. Now, something you may already notice immediately that's different from the rest is this island's resident services is still in the tent form. Now, this is achievable without modding. I have not modded this island. I don't have a modded switch. This is accomplished by having 2 different switches and kind of transferring your resident rep from one island to the next one. So there are a few creators that have explained how to do this. I believe Boys Crossing has made a video, as well as Nina Tries. So their channels have tutorials if you want to accomplish this, where you still have resident services in a tent, but you also still want to terraform. I will let you know though that anything that you bring over from the other island is what you get. Because you don't have resident services, you can't upgrade your house, you cannot exchange your villagers, so you pretty much have to be happy with whatever you brought over from your other island, as well as with whatever starter villagers you get. But back into this island, this is my island Kakamora. It is pretty much a deserted island theme, so the whole island is pretty much covered in this water path. When I saw this water path, I knew I really wanted to use it on an island, and I hadn't really seen anyone do this before, so I thought this was a really fun theme to do. It was super simple, something that just kind of was a breath of fresh air between all the other really in-depth islands that I'd done. It was really just laid back and easy to do. I just really got to tap into the extremely natural kind of island. There's nothing on this island that is very modern. All of the items used are very natural, or things that you would build or find based on the resources that you're given. There are a few structures throughout the island though, but I made sure to make them look a little more rustic and handmade. So that's kind of the overall theme. It's pretty much a giant ocean, and throughout there are a ton of different mini islands that have different elements on them, and it was just so fun to do. And as I was laying down all the pathing, I kind of had to think a little bit backwards. The water is meant to kind of replace the grass in this case, and all the islands are supposed to look like they're floating. So I had to cover the entire island with the sand path, and then on top of the sand I would lay down my water code. So I had to kind of do the reverse of what I'm used to in order to make all those little islands, but I really got the hang of it after a while, and it was very simple to do, just very time consuming. I also wanted to mention that this island's name is actually named after the coconut warriors from Moana. I just thought it was a really cute name, and since Moana is set in the ocean, I thought it was just very fitting to name my island after something that was from that movie. So yeah, that's pretty much the overall theme. And also, as I mentioned, my resident rep's house I could not upgrade or change. I did want to keep it as a tiny house, so I didn't have to worry about that. And I absolutely love the way I decorated on the inside. It gives me very much like jungly pirate adventure, a little bit of Indiana Jones, and I just love it so much. I love the color scheme going on. I managed to use the codes that I had saved as part of the wallpaper and flooring, and I just think it all comes together so nicely. It's so relaxing. You really only hear the sounds that I have going on, like the little bamboo water trickling, and then the fireplace and the TV, and then just the lighting I just think turned out really great. Another really cool fun thing that I have on this island is a little hidden treasure. So past the beach where I have a mini SOS design on the sand is this really jungly area. I did want to incorporate some form of terraforming for the island, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity. As if pirates or someone else had buried some hidden treasure on this island and you have to go and find where it is. So honestly, throughout the whole island, I have just little moments like that where you come across a centerpiece that just really matches the theme, and it was just really fun to add those little details, especially since the majority of the island is fake water. So yeah, that's pretty much Kakamora. There really isn't much going on the island, but I still had so much fun creating such a natural, realistic type theme. And it was just a really nice island to take a break from placing a ton of items and building out large decorated builds, especially after Rosaelia and Andalasia. I feel like this was just a really nice break. So yeah, let me know if you guys end up visiting this one. It is just a super fun island to visit and walk around. And again, if you would like to visit, the DA is down in the description. Now let's move on to island number 6. Next up, we are on island number 6, and this is Dewdrop. Now, some of you are probably familiar with this island, and that is because this was the very first video that I'd ever posted, was the island tour for this island. So for the next couple islands, I think I'm going to go a little bit quicker through the island tour, just because I do have a full in-depth tour for each one of these next islands on my channel, which I can link down in the description as well. But Dewdrop is my Kidcore Strawberry cardboard island, and this island was so much fun, and I feel like this was the happiest I've been creating an island. I just really loved all of my villagers, I loved the theme, and I think I just was super happy with it because I also love the color pink, so there was a ton of pink going on, and it was just really cute and fun to use all of the brightly colored items and patterns that I had on this island. And I also was really inspired for this one to use cardboard because I feel like the cardboard set is so underutilized. It is so great. They are such cute items, and I thought they deserve some love. I also wanted to put my own little spin on Kidcore and make it a little more light and airy, but still very playful. So it's definitely on the brighter side of Kidcore, but still a very cohesive color scheme. I just thought it was best to use the in-game pathing because it kind of looks like cardboard when you lay down some of the road designs that I'd used, and it was just so much fun. I seriously can't stress enough just how happy this island made me, and it's just so near and dear to my heart, especially since it's kind of the start of my channel. Also, all of the builds that I've done just really emphasize the whole whimsical building style that I like to build in, and it's even better because Kidcore is such a vast theme. I feel like you could really attempt it in any way that you like, and the best part is there's really no rules when it comes to Kidcore. Also, all of the comments on that video were just so sweet and so supportive. I truly appreciate it. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed this island just as much as I enjoyed creating it, so it's just so special to me, and I really don't know what else to say besides it just makes me so happy to be walking around on it, and it just really brings back some memories, I think. So yeah, Dewdrop, my Strawberry Kidcore cardboard island. I know it's a long title, but I feel like it fits the whole theme so perfectly. So now it's time to say goodbye to Dewdrop and head over to my next island. Here we are on my 7th island, Gumdrop. This is the first ever winter type theme that I've created, and as the name suggests, this island is a Candyland / gingerbread themed island. And if I'm being honest, I have quite a bit of a love-hate relationship with this island. Mainly because I struggled really hard as I neared the end of building this island. I just wasn't really happy with the builds I was creating, and I started running out of room And then the spaces that I had to build in were kind of an awkward shape, so I just really struggled with this theme. And I think I also struggled because the vision that I had in my mind was just not matching what I was building on the island. But I am very proud of myself for pulling through with this one and finishing it, because when I do look back on it, I do really like how it turned out. I feel like it is, again, pretty unique, and I think all the items that I used were super fun and colorful, and I am really proud of myself because I had made 2 of the paths that are on this island, mainly the gingerbread cookie looking one and then the colorful candy one. So yeah, I put so much work into it, and I felt like I just couldn't bring myself to reset after putting so much energy and work to it in the very beginning. So I pulled through and finally finished the island, and I'm just so happy that I did. So as I said, this is a very Candyland type island. All of the villagers for this I felt like matched a candy type theme. And another really cool thing is I decorated inside all of the villager houses for this one, as well as my interior of my house. All the houses are kind of customized to be a darker brown or tan color because the houses are meant to represent gingerbread houses. And the whole island is just this very big candy forest with a few different builds in between. It was super fun to use a lot of the frozen items, especially in the more vibrant and colorful variations, as well as some of the Bunny Day items. I think that combination really pulled together the whole candy kind of vibe, and especially all of the glowing moss boulders and stools. It definitely still has a Christmassy type element to it, but it's not really centered around Christmas, and that's what I think I like so much about it. I think it can be very challenging to decorate in the snow, and I totally get why people say that. It's just all white around, there's not much color, so I really had to rely on all of the items that I was using to bring in that color and to keep me motivated. So if you've completed a winter island, I commend you so much because it is not an easy task to do. I also do really like how this overall landscape turned out, especially on my map. I think it's really pretty and just flows super naturally. Also, there's only one way to really walk around the island. You either start from the left or the right and you loop back around towards the front. So even though it is pretty cluttered throughout the island, I think having one direction to go and surrounding where you need to walk with cliffs or pathing or trees in general really helped with the island flow and made it easier to navigate, even though there's so much on the island. I do wish, hopefully though, in the future games that they do add some more candy type elements as like a furniture set. I think it would have been so cool to have some kind of peppermint furniture set to use, as well as just general candy type items. I think that's what was really missing in this game, is just very fun desserts and treat themed items. I think we could have really done some even more amazing type island themes if we had those kinds of items in game. But overall, as I said, I really love walking around this island. It definitely makes me happy and cheery, but the building process was definitely a lot of work. I'm just so glad that I had finished it though. I'm glad I pulled through. So that's my challenge to you. If you are super close to being done with an island, just finish it out. Finish off those few little builds that you have to do and you won't regret it. I feel like in the end, you'll be happier that you finished it rather than deleting the whole island completely. But that's also not to say that if you are struggling and just super unhappy with your island, then of course feel free to reset. I feel like a reset is always the best option. If you're feeling down and just not enjoying the game anymore, I think that's your sign to reset. But if you've put so much work and effort into your island and you only have a few more spaces to build, just pull through. You can do it. I believe in you. You will get there in the end. You'll find some inspiration and it will just feel so rewarding once you finish the island and create that dream address. But with all that said, that was Gumdrop. It's a very quick walkthrough because there's not too much on the island. So let's move on to my final island. And last but certainly not least is my island, Poptart. Poptart is my construction town core island, and like all my other islands, I really enjoyed this one as well. Also, I do apologize for the jarring change in audio. I am recording in a more echoey room. I've kind of been recording all these little voiceovers at different points in time, so yeah, I apologize. But I'm just gonna pull through to finish off this video. So here's the island map of Poptart. Again, there's the DA and all my villagers, and just the overall style of the map. Poptart was also another really special island in terms of my channel because this one I really showcased on the channel. I built it from the beginning all the way till the end, and I have multiple videos of me building up this island through speed builds or let's play, so I do have a whole playlist on this island if you're curious to see how I built some of these builds. But as I mentioned, this is my construction town car island. There are a ton of construction zones all around. It was a very different theme. I had hardly used any of the construction items before building out this island, so this one was just really different. And I feel like I was really just able to play around with different ideas that I hadn't done before on an island. I think that's really what this island reminds me of, is just experiencing different things and builds in the game that I hadn't tried. I feel like the layout is kind of similar to Dewdrop, where I have just a main road and there are a bunch of fillers that surround the road, but I also wanted to keep some natural aspects to the island, so anywhere near the campsite or the cliffs, I do have more natural type builds. I did want to make this island really cutesy but also kind of realistic, pretty much a more realistic take on kidcore in a way. I think just the items and codes that I ended up using gave it that very kidcore style. So I thought that town core was a really great way to kind of blend my overall theme with a lot of the kidcore elements that I had throughout the island. Also, I received quite a few comments from you guys on various videos where I built up this island, and it just made me really happy to hear that some of the builds I was doing was really inspiring you and made you want to pick up your Switch again. That's honestly my goal every time I post a video, is to hopefully help someone out there who's struggling with their island or needs inspiration. I'm more than happy to provide that for you, and you're always welcome to use any of the builds that I do in my videos on your own islands if you like. I think that's what's so great about the Animal Crossing community, is that we're all just here having fun, sharing our love of Animal Crossing, and helping each other with different inspiration ideas and builds and themes. It's just so fun, so I'm glad that this island was able to provide that for you guys as well. But that was Poptart. I did go through this one a little quicker than the others just because it is my more recent island, and I feel like a lot of you have found my channel through this island, so yeah, I feel like you've seen most of it before. But again, if you want to visit, the DA is down in the description. But now to finish off this video, I am going to be ranking my islands from my least favorite to my favorite. However, before I do start ranking, I do want to say that I do really love all of my islands. It is kind of difficult for me to order them in this way, so I am going based off of just the ones that bring me the most joy and that I really had so much fun making, and the ones I'm just really proud of. So that's kind of how I'm deciding to rank these, just based off of how it makes me feel. So coming in the last spot, number 8, is Pinewood. Pinewood was a lot of fun when I was making it, but as I mentioned in my walkthrough, I did experience quite a bit of burnout, and I just think even now, walking through it, it is just very hard to navigate. So I wish I had used varying heights of trees. I think that would have really helped with the island flow and where you should go, but it was just kind of a little bit of a lot, and I would love to attempt another fall themed island, but definitely on the lighter side, I think. So the island I have in spot number 7 is Blossom. Now this is kind of hard for me to say because Blossom is so near and dear to my heart, but I do have similar feelings about this one as to how I feel about Pinewood. Blossom just has a ton of flowers, almost to the point where it kind of is a little overwhelming and a little irritating for me. I mean, I can't be too harsh on it. It is my very first ever island, but I just really wish I had stuck with a few different breeds of flowers and also stuck with one color scheme. This island did really make my inner child happy though, building all these references for fairy tales, and I am really proud of myself for all the builds I managed to complete, but overall, I think just compared to all my other islands now, it is just ranked on the lower end of the list. So the island I have in spot number 6 is probably going to be a surprise for some of you. I decided to choose Rosaelia as island number 6. Now I really don't have a direct reason as to why I ranked this so low. I think just comparing it to all my other islands, this is just kind of where it fell. It was a lot of work. I did feel slight burnout towards the end of that island, and I don't know, it does make me happy to walk around it, but there are a few other islands that I just really enjoyed and I'm even more proud of. But I don't know, I feel like all the islands I'm about to rank in the middle of the list are all kind of equal in my mind, but if you were to ask me to list out all of my islands, I feel like Rosaelia would probably be the last one I'd name just because I do forget about it sometimes. So yeah, there's nothing that I really just don't like about the island. It's more so that I just like some of my other islands a little better. The island coming in spot number 5 is Poptart. Poptart was a lot of fun. This one was really special for my channel, and I don't know, I just really love all the colors on it. Again, it's kind of just equal with Rosaelia in my mind, but my only reason why it's a little bit towards the middle is because I feel like this is an island I would really like to redo. I think I could really make it even better and probably make it more of a city core rather than a town core. I feel like on this island I just really ran out of room and I still had so many build ideas, but I just didn't have the space to make them. So that's why it's kind of in the middle of the list. So the island that I have in spot number 4 is Gumdrop. Now you guys might be a little bit surprised about this one too, just because I mentioned that I have a love-hate relationship with this one, but this is what I mean about the love part. I feel like every time I do visit this island or see the pictures that I've taken on it, I'm just really in love with the whole aesthetic of the island. It had just the right amount of whimsical and magical type builds, and I feel like I would walk around the island with a smile on my face just because of all the colors. It was just a lot of fun, and I was really proud of myself for pulling through with the island. So now we're entering my top 3 islands, and the island that I have in spot number 3 is Kakamora. This one also might be a little bit of a surprise. I feel like my whole list might be a little bit of a surprise to everyone, but I don't know, there's just something about Kakamora that I really, really love. It's just so out there and different from all the other builds and islands I've done. It was just a really nice break, as I mentioned, from all of the really extravagant islands I'd done. I also just absolutely adore water codes that people make in this game. I think they are so pretty and you can do so many amazing things with them, so this one was just super fun and it's kind of like a mini adventure. So the island that I have in spot number 2 is Dewdrop. Dewdrop just made me so happy. That's probably the happiest I've ever been playing Animal Crossing, and I feel like that's no surprise because it was a kid core island. I loved using the whole strawberry cardboard theme. I think all the villagers on this island as well were probably my favorite set of villagers on any of my islands because they were just so cute sitting in all of the little builds that I'd done. I think this was the most interactive island I had, so it was just such a fun time. And coming in at spot number 1, my favorite island of all my islands is Andalasia. I adore this island so much. I'm so proud of how it came out. It was just so rewarding comparing the movie to my island, and I just got to watch Enchanted like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 times just so that I could get all the references right for this island, and it was the best time ever. I think a lot of the builds on this island are some of my favorite builds I've ever done, and I just am so pleased with how it came out. And it was just super fun because I got to do city core and a natural all on the same island. And I would probably visit it over and over and over again just so I can relive all the moments from the movie. So you guys, those were all 8 of my Animal Crossing islands that I have completed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you've made it to this point in the video, Thank you so much. You guys are seriously the real ones. I know this was quite a bit of a long one, but I really wanted to showcase all of my islands and give them some love, especially the ones that I had before my channel. So yeah, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know which of my islands was your favorite, or even better, make your own little ranking of which islands were your favorite and least favorite. I'm really intrigued to know how different your list would be from mine. So you guys, since this was a long one, I'll make this outro a little bit short. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already. This is just the first video of this week of videos, and I can't wait to share more of the videos with you all and live stream at the end of the week. Thank you all again for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day or night, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!